Chinese EV maker BYD plans to ramp up its expansion efforts in Saudi Arabia. BYD launching in Saudi last year and now currently runs 3 showrooms in the country. It's hoping to build on that and open 7 other locations by the second half of next year. The EV space in Saudi Arabia is growing. Tesla opened its first showroom in Riyadh in April, while Lucid Motors, backed by the Public Investment Fund, is working to build the kingdom's first car manufacturing plant. Here to unpack the trend is Anthony Sassine. He is Senior Investment Strategist at KraneShares, joining us live from Dubai. Anthony, wanted to get you on today to unpack what is obviously a growing trend in the region, but in particular in Saudi Arabia. You heard there, after Tesla's entry in April, BYD now saying it wants to go from 3 to 10 showrooms. How aggressive is that move in an emerging market like Saudi Arabia, and what does it tell you about BYD's ambitions globally?
Exactly, Dan. Thank you for having me. BYD have big ambitions globally, and they've been registering great results this year. If you look at their sales, they surpassed 400,000 cars sold overseas only, which is a big jump from 90,000 last year. So definitely it's part of their big plan for expansion outside of China. And the Middle East is ripe as a ripe market with a lot of wealthy buyers that could be looking to buy EVs and especially plug-in hybrids, whether in Saudi or UAE. And we've been seeing a lot more Chinese cars here, including BYD, especially in the UAE and now in Saudi. Saudi is definitely one of the biggest markets, and they're looking to expand to more than 10 showrooms next year. They still have smaller targets, 5,000 to 6,000 cars sold, but they're ramping up, and they're now exploring even bringing more production capacity to the kingdom, whether on the EV side or on the battery side.
So Anthony, expand on that for me, because we know, living in this part of the world, that we love driving cars here. So explain to me the factors that are driving this rise in EV adoption in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia, and what makes the Middle East attractive to a Chinese company like BYD?
For sure. First, the political environment between the two regions, between China and the GCC, has been very ripe, and there's been a lot of work done on the political side and the business side as well over the past few years. And we're seeing these culminate in more Chinese companies' exposure and involvement in the region, and one of them is the EVs. Also part of China's export strategy to move to high-end manufacturing, and EVs is definitely at the center of this. And given its high ability to produce cheaper cars, and batteries, it's very evident to start seeing Chinese cars all over the world, especially in Europe and the Middle East. So here in the Middle East, we're still a little bit behind other regions, including Europe and the US. But we're catching up a little bit, and the infrastructure is still not as developed as you would hope. We still have in Saudi, for instance, less than 1,000 chargers in the kingdom, which is low for its space. So we need that to develop further. But we're seeing a lot more focus with that regard, with Lucid, with Sears in Saudi, investments backed by PIF, and now we're seeing Tesla and BYD join this year. So it's definitely expanding, and the Chinese companies are here to try to be first in this market.
Indeed, and looking at some of the numbers here, it really does back up what you're saying. Riyadh, of course, wants 30% electric vehicles by 2030, and the EV sector, it would seem as well, really critical to Saudi Arabia's broader Vision 2030 agenda. As you say, between Lucid, Sears, the national charging infrastructure as well, it would seem as if the public investment funds moves and developments into this space have really enabled this sector as well. But one of the challenges at the moment is the fact that EVs still only make up around 1% of Saudi car sales as it stands. So what's your best bet on what it's going to take to get to double digits, and when? You mentioned that this is a fast-growing sector. We are seeing increasing adoption, but how soon before we see real EV penetration actually taking place in these key markets like Saudi Arabia, and as an extension to that, the UAE as well?
Yeah, no, it's especially in Saudi. I think you need a lot more reforms and policies that help this. The target 30% by 2030 is definitely a big start, but you still need more. Also, let's not forget these countries are oil producing, and some of these companies are working on alternatives for EV, like synthetic oil and others that they think could even compete with the EV vehicles. I mean, for now, it's more about building the auto infrastructure of becoming the center of the global south here in terms of production, especially being a satellite for India and some of these populous countries around us. But in terms of local penetration and local expansion, I think that could take a few more years and few more policies from the governments before we're able to reach double digits.